Hi friends, in this generative AI tutorial, we are going to learn about guardrails. We are going to see how guardrail makes generative AI response more safer and more secure. Think about the guardrail as traffic rules. So traffic rule help us to drive. If traffic rules are, if people follow the traffic rule, they can easily drive through the road. Okay, and if suppose there are no traffic rules, okay, it will be a big chaos in the roads. Okay, same way traffic guardrails are equivalent to the traffic rule. It will help you to make safe and secure AI solutions. So if we have to draw an analogy about guardrails, we can think about the traffic signal. Okay, so when everybody drives, then there are some traffic rules are defined how we should drive, and the traffic rules basically regulate the traffic, and it helps us to drive easily into the road so that minimal accident happens. Same way the guardrail will make sure if we use generative AI, the response is safe and secure, and everybody can use generative AI easily. So AI guardrails are rules or controls and safety mechanism that sit around a generative AI system to make sure it behaves in a safe, very important point, it's safe, ethical and policy compliant ways. Okay, now we will try to learn through the example how guardrail, if guardrail is not there, what sort of a response we will get from the generative AI LLM model. Okay, and how guardrail will is helping us to get a safer response. Okay, let's think about the prevent harmful content. So when the generative AI LLM model responses, the guardrail will help us to restrict violent, explicit hate speech, toxic, and misinformation. So, we guardrail will help us to avoid any sort of hate speech, discrimination between genders, description, any sort of discrimination in nationalities, race. So let's think about an example like as if in the Facebook, if any user try to post hate speech or misinformation, the generative AI guardrail will basically restrict to the user at the first point itself, and it will not be able to post such comments in Facebook. Scenario 2, somebody goes and asks the question in ChatGPT, how do I make a bomb? And AI, and when we have defined a guardrail around our AI, the AI understands with this information, maybe the user is trying to do some physical harm to the other people, and it refuses to answer the response. So one scenario is prevent harmful content. Second scenario is reduce hallucination and keep outputs factual. So for that we need to understand first the hallucination. As we all know, all LLM model hallucinate. Hallucinate means if you ask some questions, if the LLM model does not know the exact answer, still it will try to respond you, and sometime it will respond you with some makeup answers. Okay, let's understand with one example what is the hallucination. So somebody asked a question with ChatGPT, who won 2025 ODI Men Cricket World Cup? Okay, we know in 2025 there is no ODI Men Cricket World Cup. Okay, but sometime it may happen the generative AI response will still try to respond something, and that it may try to respond something with you some in not factual information, wrong information, or maybe sometime some outdated information. So this type of a thing is called hallucination. So guardrail will help us to reduce hallucination and keep our facts, keep the response in the factual form. How does it do? The one mechanism it uses is like whenever somebody asks the question, it will try to respond with some trusted websites. Okay, maybe there are some website where the information may not be correct, incorrect, or misleading information. So it will try to get the information from trusted websites. Okay, forces AI to use only trusted source, and when it gives a response, it also cite the sources, and before presenting to the user, it also validate the response. So these are the techniques which are called as the grounding techniques in the AI. The guardrail will help us to give the factual information and correct information. It can also add some fact verification checks. Okay, third one, stay on topic and domain specific. Okay, so that's very important with guardrail. Suppose let's have a, we are trying to create a chatbot engine, and chatbot engine will basically uh, try to give the answer related to our enterprise. It's a banking domain chatbot engine. So if you ask about any of your account details, or how many, or if you want to know a deposit account or credit account, or what types of terms and conditions are there, the chatbot should be able to help you. But at the same time, if you ask any question which is not into the domain of the chatbot, which is not related to banking domain, it will basically tell you it cannot give you any answer related to politics or any generic answers. Okay, so that's also you can achieve using the guardrail. And the fourth thing is ensure compliance and ethics. So when we work in the real world, there are a lot of types of policy constraints, or lot of types of ethical constraints are there. How do you operate? So we know a couple of rules like HIPAA or GDPR. So under the HIPAA, the health information is very sensitive, and health information should not be shared across. Okay, and sometimes some enterprise will have some internal policies. Okay, so when we are getting the response through the generative AI, the guardrail will help us to adhere the model or the response which it is presenting. Those responses are these regulation constraint like GDPR constraint or HIPAA constraint or any sort of a policy regulations are there. They will make sure it follows those policy regulation. Okay, let's understand with this example. Suppose somebody asked a question about some drug and ask whether this drug is safe for pregnancy. Okay, the AI model should be able to answer this question, but instead of answering that question, the guardrail will direct the AI to not answer this question, and instead of checking with the primary care provider, because they may know better about the patient and they can basically tell whether that drug is useful or not. Okay, so AI response, please consult your doctor, official source, advice, caution. Okay, so if I summarize, why do we need AI guardrail? To basically reduce the hallucination in generative AI model. Generative AI model should also not leak any sort of sensitive information like person's name or email address or home address or phone number. Okay, sometimes the model may be trained because it trains on the public data, and many of the times our public data is available in internet. Okay, so maybe when the AI model was trained, it has our data, but if somebody asks the question, the model should not respond any of the public any of the personal information into AI response. Be manipulated by prompt attacks, generate harmful, biased or unsafe content, and violate compliance rules. So basically for all these things we need guardrails. Okay, how do we implement the guardrail? Okay, so there are two ways you can implement the guardrail. Okay, so basically what you are trying to do here, so if anybody asks any questions, the first thing is you should stop asking the question at the first point itself. Okay, that is called as a input guardrails. Before model sees the prompt, in the prompt itself, when the model analyzes the prompt, and it will refuse to answer the question. Okay, so any of the prompt a person gives which is like based on the hate or biased or some sort of a violent prompts. Okay, so the model will basically block at the first itself. Okay, a customer asks a chatbot to show me other users credit card details. Okay, so Input guardrail will stop request right away. And same second way is when the AI responds the answer before showing the answer to the user, at that point we will have some sort of a validation layer where where we will do the validation and making sure the response which is coming to the showing to the user is safe and secure, and then only the response is displayed to the user. That is called as a output guardrail. Okay, output guardrail or grounding to the response. So moderate output response, it block toxic, unsafe and biased response. Sometimes the AI may respond in such a way which has got some toxic words. The overall response is not toxic, overall response is not biased, but it has some sort of a toxic words. Okay, so this output guardrail will basically block those words from the output response. Okay, any sort of a, if there is any corporate or legal policies are there, suppose in our enterprise, it's an insurance based enterprise, and I created a chatbot engine, and in the chatbot engine, if somebody asks any questions related to our company policy, so if our company has got some ethical policy where it gives the response in some certain ways, so we make sure through the guardrail, output guardrail, whenever the response is presented to the users, we make sure those policy or guidelines have been adhered. Okay, so so far we have seen why do we need guardrail, what are how can we implement the guardrail in two different ways, input guardrail and output guardrail. Okay, and now we will also talk about a very important topic is like system level guardrails. Okay, so system level guardrails is basically in the system itself how you can stop these things like using the access control. Okay, so only authorized user can access any of the sensitive AI features, audit logs. Okay, whatever the user is asking question through the generative AI, so all those user request and response will be properly logged and properly analyzed. Okay, for the compliance and monitoring purpose. Rate limiting, prevent abuse by spamming prompts. Okay, and grounding and verification we have already talked about. Okay, so this is all about guardrails. In one word, as I told you, the one simple analogy, think about guardrail as a traffic light signals which will help us to drive. The traffic light helps us to drive. Okay, same way the guardrail are the collection of the rules. If you follow the rule, your generative AI, the solution which you implement, that solution will be more safe and secure and user can use it. Hope it helps. If you like our video, please subscribe to our channel, and that's a WhatsApp group link. Please join this link. We in every day we publish some good videos in generative AI field. Thank you.